Okay, boys and girls, today we're going to be doing more practice with line plots, all right? And we're going to do it a little differently today because we're going to be plotting our data in a line graph. Okay? So let's take a look at our learning target. I can collect data and graph it in a number line plot. So we're going to be doing more work collecting our data and then graphing that data and then analyzing it. Just like we were doing, but this time we're going to be doing things a little bit differently. Okay? Okay, so let's review first because it's been the weekend. So let's see, what is a line plot? Isaac?
It's a graph.
That's a type of graph. What do we use line plots for? Christian?
We use line plots to help us with special things.
What kind of things? Awesome. Isak?
Like to collect data.
Collect data. What kinds of data can we collect using line plots? Ben?
A lot of things.
Like what?
Like,
What have we used it in the past for?
like you did M&Ms.
Sorting things. What else? Okay.
Like counting how many red balls,
Right, sorting things. Aaron, add to that. Our jumping labs. Excellent. Zach? We did a couple labs. Who can help them out? AC? Carla, we could, yeah, that's another way. We practiced it with jumping, right? We struggled a little bit, so that's what we're going to practice more. Great brainstorming. So, while you guys were at lunch, I collected some data. I measured the lengths of all the pencils in one of the pencil cups. I measured 20 pencils, okay? And I put it in this data table. How can we read this? Aaron. Right, and I measured in centimeters. So looking at my data table, what does this tell us? What does this tell us? Isak?
It tells us like the measurement
Measurement of what?
of the pencil.
Measurement of pencils. So here are my lengths, and here are the number of pencils that were that length. So how many pencils did I measure that were 9 centimeters? Hillary? 3. How many pencils did I have that were 16 centimeters? Michael? 4. What about 12? 12 centimeters. Monica? 2. And what about 18? How many pencils did I measure that were 18 centimeters? Arun? 2. So do you see how we can read that data? Does that make sense to you guys? Because we're going to be using this in our must-do today. This is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be measuring our colored pencil stuff. Okay? So let's see how we can then graph that data. How could we graph that data? What is our first step in our line plot? How many pencils are there? How do we find that out? Our data table? Okay, good. So what are our first step then? Once we know our data, we use our table. What's our first step going to be? What do we do with this number? Very good. So boys and girls, am I going to start with the number 1? Am I going to start with 1? No. Why not? Why don't I start with 1? Krista? There's no pencil. That's 1 pencil. See that? So what should I start with? And what should I end up with? What should I go to? My turn. Where am I going to put that 18? And what number am I going to start with? So we're going to be working with the numbers, the length from 9 centimeters to 18 centimeters. What do we call that? 9 to 18. Very small period. There's another word for it. Yeah. What do we call that word though? When we're working with numbers between 9 and 18. See that? Yeah, that's a good guess. So it starts with this R. Guys, remember our range? This is called range. That's our range. Oh, that's our range that we're working with. So 9 to 18. It is kind of like a range, but that's called our range. So, what am I starting with now? Here we go. And where am I putting it? The first line. Let's do that now. So this is my 9. What number am I going to put next? So, okay. Do I have any that are 10 though? No. But is that okay? Yeah. Okay, and then what number next? 11, 12,
13.
good.
14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19.
And do I have any that are 19?
No.
But is that okay?
Yes.
That's okay. Okay, so now we have our x-axis. Now we have what we're working with. What do we label that? What's that called? What do these numbers represent? Because if I or Mrs. Patterson were to look at our data, we're not going to know it. Could these represent monkeys?
No.
Children? How do I know what we're working with? What are we going to put down there? What are we going to put down there? Parker.
The unit.
The unit. And what is the unit? Length of pencils. And what is that unit called? Is it inches?
Length.
Centimeters, right? So we're going to put that on the bottom. Centimeter of our pencils. Do we see why we put that there? Questions on why we put that there? Yeah. We put that there because that's what our numbers represent. Right? Good. What about our title? I don't have a line for it, but we need a title up here. So I need to know. What should we call this graph? Lizzie.
Pencils United.
Pencils United. What's another thought? Hillary. What's that? Numbers of pencils. Parker. Centimeters of pencils. Kate.
United States of Pencils.
A little silly, but your titles could look different, but really focus on what we're working with. So what are we exactly working with, Mahika? Pencils. And what do we do to those pencils? We graph them. What do we do first with them? Raise your hand next time, Broom. What did you say, buddy? Measure them. So we could title this. Pencil measurements. Okay, boys and girls. Now, we have our title. We have our range down here for our x-axis. Can we start plotting? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Yeah, we can start. What am I going to start with? Oh, and what am I going to put? What am I going to use? What symbol am I going to use for line plots? Isaac. X's. And what are our X's going to represent in this case? Christian.
One pencil.
One pencil. One pencil equals one X. Okay, one X equals one pencil. So what am I going to put above my 9 mark? Let's look at our data table. Length of pencils 9. How many? AC. 3 X's. Now am I going to go?
No.
All right, 3 that are 9.
No.
What's that? Why not? They're my 3 X's.
You did that.
Well, why isn't that a good thing? Oliver.
Because they're all different sizes and they're not in a straight line.
All different sizes and they're not in a straight line. If you're reading this, can you read what I'm trying to tell you guys for my graph or my data?
Not at all.
Not at all, I agree. So what should we do? What should we make sure our X's should look like?
Not one. I forgot one.
Oh, thanks. What should my X's look like?
All the same size, and they should look a little bit the same, and they should be close to the same size.
Right, and what about in the line? Should they be straight?
Yes.
Excellent. So AC, what did we say? How many do we have? That were how many centimeters? 9. So there's 1, there's my 2, And there's my 3. Does that look better?
Yeah.
Excellent. Now what's my next length? Going from smallest to biggest, let's look at our data table. What's my next length of pencil? Boys? Hillary? What was that? 12. And how many pencils did I have that were 12 centimeters long? 2. Am I going to put it here?
No.
Am I going to put it here?
No.
Here, right? And how many?
2.
And what's my next one? Isa?
13.
13. And how many pencils?
1.
1. My next length.
15.
15. And how many were 15 centimeters long? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. So do you see how this is so much easier to read so far already?
Yeah.
These are the same sizes and they're all straight. Excellent. Aaron, what's our next one? 16. And how many were 16 centimeters? 4. 2 more. Next one. Mahika. And how many? Excellent. And our last one.
18.
And how many were 18 centimeters?
2.
2. Okay. So what do we think of our line plot? Woo. Good observations. So, is this much easier to read?
Yeah.
Can you look at this? If I asked you, how many pencils were 13 centimeters? Could you tell me?
Yes.
How many?
1.
What about 16? How many were 16 centimeters?
4.
And what about 17?
2.
And 18?
2.
And 19?
0.
Oh, I tried to trick you. 0. Excellent. So this is the kind of work, boys and girls, that we're going to be doing today. It's going to be fun. Questions about how we take data and put it into a line plot. AC. AC asked a good question. Should we write down what the X's represent? What do we think?
Yeah.
Why would that be a good idea? Parker.
So, the people that are checking it don't think they're like monkeys or something?
Exactly. We want to know exactly what you're working with. So yes, that'd be a great idea, AC. Okay? Chelsea.
I don't get it this way.
Which part?
That, there's just 1 9.
Because that was my shortest pencil that I measured, was 9 centimeters. So I put that first, because when we arrange our pencils, you're going to put it from least to greatest.
Well, I don't get it. Like 9 went exactly when it supposed to be.
So here's 9. Here's our length of our pencil, which is 9. And how many pencils were that length? How many X's? Right here, 3, Steve. So how many X's did I put? 3. Does that make sense? Okay, great. AC. Yeah, you can put that too. That'd be great. Like we last time with our M&Ms, it equaled a different number. It was 5. So it's always good to have that. You can put that.
It was
Great.
10.
It was 10. Okay, let's talk about it.
Is it just 3 in the triangle, or is it just 1, 2?
So for 12, let's take a look back at our table. How many were 12? 2. So it's like this, our straight line. And then how many were 13? 1. Okay, great. Okay, we ready to see our must do today?
Yes.
Me too. Let's take a look. Okay, so first part, let's read the directions. Start by measuring each one of your colored pencils to the nearest centimeter. What does that mean, to the nearest centimeter? Christian?
Rounding it to the nearest centimeter.
Right, so would 12 and a half be the nearest centimeter?
No.
What would I round 12 and a half to make it the nearest centimeter? My 3. 13. What about 15 and a half? What would I round that to? Kate? 16. So we want to make sure it's an even number. That's what that means, to the nearest centimeter. Okay, Parker?
I don't get like if it's a half, you round it to the biggest.
Yep, if it's a half, you round it up, right? So if it's 15 and a half, it'd be 16, okay? Make sense? Okay, so that's what you're going to start with. You're going to take out your colored pencils, and you're going to measure, Chelsea, each of those. And you're going to use your measurement note side. So let's keep reading. Yep, use the measurement side of the section to show your work and record your measurements. That's our first step, and that's independently. Take out your colored pencils and start measuring them, and document those on your note side. Okay, Christian?
Is this, wait, I actually have two things.
Okay.
One is like, do we like do this by ourselves and then come up and then write it on a different paper?
We'll talk about it. You're gonna document. You're gonna measure all your colored pencils. Okay, that's our first step.
And the second thing is, what happens if you if you lost some colored pencils?
Just measure all the ones you have in your cubby, but that are yours. Okay. Parker.
I don't have my own colored pencils.
We'll figure it out. Okay, we can always share too. Okay, so that's our first step. Once you have all your measurements here, it says work in your group, which will be your table. Hands down for just a minute. Work in your group to complete the table. Be sure to start with the shortest length and move to the longest. So do you remember my data table? I started with 9, which was my pencil that was the shortest, and how long was my longest one? 18. So that's gonna go in our last box. And you may not fill all these up, and that's okay. We just gave you enough so you could show your work. Okay, AC. You're gonna measure your colored pencils by yourself. Okay, step 1. Once your group's done, then you're gonna work together to fill out this table. Okay, so you're gonna talk with your group and say, who had the shortest pencil? The shortest pencil I had was 9 centimeters. What was the shortest pencil you had? Figure out which one's the shortest. That's gonna go here. And then you're gonna go up from there. And then that is your, what's that R word? Your range, that will be your range. And then, so let's say my shortest pencil was actually 8 centimeters, okay? Number of pencils that are that length. Can there only be one? No, I could have 2 that are 8 centimeters, and Mahika could have 3 that are 8 centimeters. So that would be 5. That would be 5 total. Does that make sense? Hillary. We can share, that's fine. Okay? Parker. Questions on this part? Aaron.
Do you mean by my measurement modes? Are we going to take our measurements and make it as small as the biggest? And then the other connected to the table?
Right. So you're going to do your measurements here. You're going to start measuring your colored pencils. Let's say you have one that is, I have one that's 10 centimeters. And actually, I have 2 that are 10 centimeters. And then I had one that was 12 centimeters. You're gonna measure and put all your notes there. So when you come to your group, you can say, okay, my shortest was 10. What was your shortest? 9. Okay, what was your shortest? Well, I had one that was 8. Okay, 8's gonna be our lowest. And that's where we put that. And then how many people in our group, how many had 8? How many pencils were 8 centimeters long in our whole group? And then you put that there. And you're gonna go from smallest to largest. Does that make sense? Helpful? Isaac. This part right here? So once you have all your data here, all your measurements of your colored pencils, you're going to talk with your group and figure out your range. So who had the lowest? And then go from there.
But where do you put your rubber ones and you end them?
Right here. This is where your workspace is for. So this is all going to look different because you're all going to have different lengths. This is just for you to write down your own notes about your measurements. Okay, this is tricky stuff, I know. So we're just going to go slow. Okay.
What happens if you had more colored pencils on the length of the pencils?
What do you mean?
Like, what happens if you have more than this much?
Oh, you shouldn't. You shouldn't have more. Because they're going to be, your ranges are going to be similar. They're going to be different, but they're going to be similar. So we made sure you had enough boxes. Okay?
What happens if you have less?
That's fine. If you don't fill in these 3, that's fine. So it's extra. Okay? Isa.
So like, are the groups generated or are they just your table partners?
Table partners. Okay? Okay. Then, once you have your information, all your data, you're going to graph it. So it says, complete the line plot using the data you collected with your group. Be sure to make all your x's the same. What goes on this line? Yeah. Name your data, your title. What goes on this line? What you got? Right, what you're working with, and then our numbers, our range. And your ranges are gonna look different per group. Parker?
Since why is the dad not here? Could we work together?
Probably not, but we'll figure it out, okay? Really try to stick with your group that are at your table, okay? Christian?
Is it a class table partners or next to table of partners?
It's gonna be your group. Your group. Okay? Make sense? And the last thing, we're not gonna get to this today, boys and girls. This is for tomorrow too, okay? We're gonna analyze it, our last step, okay? Which we'll talk about tomorrow, because we're not gonna get there today. So just focus on getting all your pencils measured, working with your group to put them in your table, and graphing them together, okay? Last minute questions before we work. Kate?
What happens if you don't get up to grab
Get as far as you can, that's fine. Okay, we have tomorrow too. Michael?
by group? Do you mean the one per table?
Your table, yep. Okay, and I'll be walking around. Ready to work? Okay, off we go.